All right, nobody's here yet. James, hello. You are the first one here. All right. Well, James and everybody else who shows up afterwards, it takes me a few minutes to get set up. So let me just get set up and then we'll get started. And Tanya, hello. So as always, I need to put in basically the information last time. No, I guess it's every time, really. Not just last time, but every time I've got to put in this, set it up where it automatically fills yet. So I end up doing it manually, and it takes me a couple minutes every time. So please just hang with me for a few minutes and let me get this set up, and then we can start. Gotta get a new Discord. I didn't do that last time. Guys, a brand new Discord. Right, I gotta tell everybody it's a live stream there. Gotta come down here and more things. Almost ready. I think that's it. I got everything there. Put the date. What is today? Oh, dash 202. Nice, and I'm back. All right, so hello everybody. I'm hoping you're having a great weekend. Happy Saturday to you. If you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday morning to you. We've already got 75 people here. That's great. And I've got 4 people already lined up and ready to go. So we're going to have a busy night tonight. I have a feeling that we're going to go over our usual 2-hour limit if it's going to be this busy because, with 4 people here, it may just be a crazy night, which is good because I like crazy nights. I've got my bubble tea. That should keep me going. And since we got people waiting, I think we should just jump right into it. Now, I usually want to go in order, and it says Jennifer is first, but I'm going to go with Jack first because Jack is on the other side of the planet. Not completely, but he's somewhere in Europe, and I know it's very late for him. And he wanted to come and share with us, and Jack's been a previous guest. I need to pull him up here. I don't remember what we talked about. To tell you guys, right? Oh, he had a Kundalini near-death experience or near-death-like experience. He was podcast 420, and then I'll go back in order. And I figured out that it goes oldest to newest. So the oldest, who was here first is Jennifer, and who was here last was Kelly. So I'm sorry, Jennifer. I'm just gonna bypass you just for Jack. I normally don't do this, but I know he was asking me if he can get in early because it's so late for him. And again, Jack was number 420 if you want to check out that podcast afterwards. So we'll see what's up with Jack and what's new with Jack. Jack, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi,
Welcome
Jeff.
back.
Good to
Nice
see
to see you
you.
again. I love it when old guests come back and pay me a visit because it's like make a new friend, but then I never see that friend again. So it's nice to have the friend come back in my life.
That's so lovely. Yeah, it feels the same.
Great.
Yeah, it was really lovely connecting with you last time. It was,
Likewise.
yeah, it was just fantastic.
So where are you? You're somewhere in Holland or Switzerland or where?
Oh, yeah, so I was traveling all over. That was kind of an interesting story in and of itself, but I had a message from Gaia saying that she wanted me to travel around Europe because I hadn't really done much of that in my life, and she was asking me to see different parts of her and connect with different energies within the land.
Mm-hmm.
So I went off exploring that, and then I ended up coming back. So I'm back in the UK now.
Oh, you're back in the UK. Okay, great.
Mm,
So
yeah, yeah.
we talked about your NDE. What has happened new that you want to share?
Mm, yeah. So it's it's an interesting kind of thing to be talking about, and there's so many different avenues to go into it. And it's interesting because I came into this expecting to talk about a specific topic, and I was just checking in with my guides about it, and they don't want me to talk about this particular topic. So I think there's an interesting thing there about sometimes when we start opening up to spirit,
Mm-hmm.
um, there can be a right time and a wrong time to share about certain things.
So why are your guides delaying us from hearing the good news?
I'm not totally sure. I was trying to get some really clear answers. Um, and I thought it would be a really good thing to talk about. And I just kept on, I use the tarot to communicate with them if I'm not sure about the way that they're communicating through my mind. And the tarot cards that were coming up were basically all just like, nope, I
Hmm,
don't do this.
interesting.
Um, so I think an area that I could go into that's similar to what I was going to talk about, but slightly different, is to talk about an aspect of spirituality that isn't always talked about. I'm sure there'll be some people who are familiar with this, but the idea of the dark feminine, is
Hmm.
that a term that you've come across, Jeff?
Interesting. The dark feminine. There's a lot of women in the audience, more than men. I hope you're not going to scare them away. I'm
Well,
just kidding.
that's exactly why I want to talk about it. That's exactly why. Because, well, first of all, obviously, I'm a man,
Right?
but I'm a man who has a very strong dark feminine energy. So that's my primary kind of energy that I would describe. Um, and some people might be put off by the idea of dark because everybody wants to go into the light. But what I've found in my own journey is that there's this balancing that takes place between the light and the dark. And here, the dark, I'm not talking about something evil, I'm
Okay.
talking about the sacred darkness. So to me, that is like the depths of Mother Earth and the depths of the underworld, as opposed to, say, the overworld. And um, this is a life force that has been demonized throughout the years, um, and certain deities that are associated with the dark feminine are seen in some groups as, kind of negative beings. But really, I feel like the entire dark feminine is really misunderstood. And a lot of what the dark feminine stands for is personal power and truth and the ability to stand up and fight against injustice that exists in the world.
What you're saying kind of reminds me of, I don't know if it's Aleister Crowley or there's another guy, but dark, for me, what you're saying, dark doesn't mean nefarious. It means standing up
Mm,
and claiming your own power, right?
exactly right. That's exactly what it is. And that's something that I have really lacked in my life. the sense of my own authority and my own power. And it's something that I see around a lot, and I see it around in spiritual circles a lot. I think when there's an overemphasis on the light, we can become self-sacrificing, and we can seek to be really compassionate in ways that um, can throw ourselves under the bus. You know, we just kind of give and give and give. So that force needs to be balanced with another force. And like you say, this sense of personal empowerment, like who am I? Like what's my voice?
Mm.
And what do I stand against in the world? You know, I may stand for love, and I may pour myself into that, but what do I stand against? You know, what do I use my fire to burn down? You know, and there's so many structures in our world that are um, in need of being burnt down.
That's interesting.
And I
If
guess it links to the idea of death and rebirth as well. So yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna say, if you can give advice to the audience about claiming their own power, what would you
Mm,
give?
that's such a good question. So one way, if people in the audience are spiritually sensitive and have some type of connection with um, with the other realms, then forming a connection with a dark feminine deity is a fantastic way of claiming that personal power. So I've had the good fortune of forming relationships with a few different dark feminine deities, and having them communicate with me in my mind in ways that allow me to bring that sense of power into my life. So getting in touch with some of those deities is a great way to do that. And every land, every culture seems to have deities that carry this energy. In India, the classic example is Kali. In Tibet, there's Vajra Yogini. And in Europe and in the Celtic tradition, there's the Morrigan.
Hmm.
And these beings can empower you, they will help you to find your own power.
So when you say get in touch with them, are you praying to them, or are you trying to contact them through meditation?
Yes. So for me, the channels are open. So it's just a matter of just kind of turning my intention. But if somebody was unfamiliar with that connection, what they could do is create an altar to one of those deities by using a picture of one of the deities to focus on, and just invite that deity to communicate with them. Um, in doing that, I would also say that some of these images, they can be quite intimidating. And my experience with these deities is that they're very, very loving and supportive and kind and all of these different things. So don't let the images of these deities put you off, because I think sometimes that is the case.
You know, this conversation reminds me of a guest I had long time ago, and I think we talked about the history of witchcraft through Europe. And
Mm,
women in the Renaissance time, and I don't know, 200-300 years ago, I'm not sure the exact time period, but women were, you know, were tired of being second class citizens, and some women were speaking up and becoming, trying to claim their own power and
mm,
trying to become equal to men. And those were the ones that were deemed a witch,
yeah,
that kind of kept women in their place.
absolutely. Yeah, there's a whole history there of the way that the dark feminine has been suppressed. And my personal view of it is that you know, we live in a world where there's a lot of power imbalance, and most people in the general public aren't trained to become empowered, powerful people. You know, we're trained to be quite docile and to follow the pack, you know. And I think if you're a powerful individual who is controlling society, then that's a great thing, because it makes it right nice and easy to control everybody. But in our past, you know, thinking of my past as a European, there's a long history of very powerful earth honoring people and communities. And even right where I am right now, this used to be the home of the Dabuni Celts, who were overthrown by the Romans, or brought into the Roman Empire. So there's this history of overpowering, and I see the witch burnings as a way of destroying that power and destroying the people's link to the power. So those women who may well have channeled the dark feminine deities and really brought that wisdom into their community, those people were targeted and ostracized.
Um, so unfortunately, Jack, I only give everybody about 10 minutes on a Saturday night.
Sure.
And I have to go because I've got 5 people in line. But before I go, is there anything that you want to share? I don't remember if you had a website, a book, a class. It was
Sure.
100
Thank you.
guests back.
Yeah.
100.
So my website is www.jackmorrigan.com, and I work with people in one-to-one coaching, giving spiritual healing and guidance. If there are people here who feel called to the dark feminine and want to explore that, that's definitely something that I can do in one-to-one sessions, and I often work with people like that. And they can also follow me on Facebook, Jack Morrigan.
Before you go, I don't know if you know what Discord is.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Discord is kind of like Facebook, but it's a little different. It's totally free. You go and you create your own profile, and then once you do, there's a link in the description tonight that I created my own Discord servers. It's like my own chat rooms in there, and anybody can join. And you can go there. You can post stuff. You can post your website, whatever. You chat with people. There's almost 400 people in the group. So you're welcome to join and put your website there, and you might meet some really cool people, because there's a lot of, I think, like-minded people that like to hang out there and be friends. And that, again, I'm not only speaking to you, Jack, but to everybody here. So
Yeah,
you might want to
fantastic. That
check it
sounds
out,
great.
and maybe you want to catch up in the chat, because somebody was asking if you were, and I think she's Indian. I'm just guessing, but she was asking about Mother Kali. That's who you were speaking about.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyways, I got to run, but it was great seeing you again. I'm happy to see you. And, don't be a stranger. Stop by. And when the guides tell you that you're allowed to share, then come back and share with us.
I will do. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeff.
All
Great to
right.
see you.
Great seeing you. Take care.
All right. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Don't report. And let's move back now to Jennifer, because she was here first. And we'll see what's up with Jennifer, and we'll go from there. And while we're waiting on Jennifer, she may be here any second, I don't know. Uh-oh. Did we lose her? I hope not. Did I click remove by accident? I don't think so. Maybe. He's here. He's just down in line. If I accidentally hit remove, I am so sorry, Jennifer. That was completely, I didn't mean to do that. I'll wait a second to see if she shows up. And while I'm there, I'll just let you know that, so in the description below, there is the Discord server. Also, what else is in there? There is the Zoom ID and room password to join. So you're welcome to, that's how you get on. You go to Zoom, you click join a room or join now, and then it'll ask for the room ID, and then it will ask for the password, and you put that all in there, and then you're here. There's also my new NDE clips video YouTube channel that's NDE only, and I only put the clips in there. They're like 5 to 10 minutes long. So if you like those and not the full 1 hour, that channel may be for you. What else is there? My personal Facebook, the JeffMara Podcast Facebook page, if you want to like that. And my own personal Facebook profile, if you want to friend me, welcome to. So I'm going to admit Karine. And then if Jennifer comes back, I'll put Bumper to the front of the line. And it says Karine, but she's Armenian, and it's pronounced Karine. From my wife's country. So a lot of you don't know that Mara is my wife, because I still see in the chats, who is Mara? But probably most of you guys already know that Mara's my wife. But if you're new and you don't, that's who Mara is. She's Armenian, from the Armenian motherland, and the first Christian country in the world, by the way. Karine.
Yes,
I hear you, but I don't see you.
Okay.
And Karine is also, I'm giving everybody a quick history lesson on Armenia. That you're also Armenian, and I was telling them that Armenia is the first official Christian country of the world. Right?
Right.
Right.
I don't think it makes huge difference anyway. I guess my camera is not in the best condition, but this is all. I couldn't do any better. Sorry.
We do what we can. Now, you were on once before, and Karine returns after taking a Wim Hof, I don't know if it's a seminar or a Wim Hof week-long class.
It was called summer expedition. That's what we called it, because it was combining everything. There was seminars, it was exercises, it was field trips all together. So it was a week-long summer expedition, and that's exactly the name that fits.
And now, for those of you who don't know, I think Wim Hof is named after the guy who invented the breathing technique, correct? Or can you give us a real quick lesson on what Wim Hof is?
Hof, that's the actual name of the person who invented this breathing technique that helps to perform. Your body is capable of doing things that the first few years, no scientists, no doctors were accepting it. They were saying, you are just abnormal. It's impossible. Human body cannot perform such a things. He has, I don't know how many exactly. He has a few records in Guinness Book. One of records is, let's say, he swam under the ice, like ice cold water under the actual ice without oxygen, a length of football field.
Wow.
And came out without having any issues. Another, he was hanging, I'm very bad with numbers, but he hung in a very cold, negative temperature, hang on one finger for quite a long time. So he performs things that considers impossible for human body to do. But the guy was doing it. So the first reaction of doctors and scientists who kind of, know what's going on and what not, know what possible or impossible, they would just tell him that, okay, you do it. Okay, you're in a book of, Guinness records, but you're just abnormal. It's not normal human ability. And he was claiming that it's a result of the deliberate training that he's going through, and anyone can do that if they just get trained.
Right.
So he ended up having 12 people. I believe that's the number scientifically necessary to prove that there is such a training. And everybody performed very similar results. So science had to admit the fact that it's a training. At this point, in some actually school books, there is a page. Wim Hof, it's the name of the person. It's his actual name. His name is Wim and last name is Hof. And he's from Holland. So now he has his nickname is Iceman, because it's a combination of certain breathing techniques with cold water, ice cold water, really cold water. And then you end up being capable to control your autonomic nerve system, in fact, which sounds very impossible, but it's true. But the sad part about what I feel a little sad about, when people talk about Wim Hof, they just talk about this superhuman abilities of body, but that's kind of side effect. What was the major thing he's claiming, and the reason I started to do his breathing 7 years ago, he talks spirit when he does the breathing and then combines it with the cold water. He says that it helps you it gives you access to the field of the spirit, of energy, of God, whatever you want to call. He usually, most of the time, he uses the word light and love. That's the word he uses more. And when you're in that field, yes, you train yourself physically. Of course, he does a lot of exercises and stuff, but still, unless you're in that field of higher vibration with the light and a spirit, you can't really perform those kind of abilities. So there is a lot of emotional and spiritual aligning happening as the training happens, because without that alignment, there is no way you can, like I'm a regular person, and I ended up doing 15 minutes lying down with not only me, it was 125 people for the summer retreat. And all of us, of course, because, you pay, you go to see how far you can push your limits, and you do it. We end up being 3 days, 4 days in a row, lying down in ice cold water for 15 minutes. But of course, you have coaches around you. They watch you, because those are really extreme things to do. And then you end up getting out, you're feeling totally frozen. But there are certain movements that you need to know how to do. You get
You're freezing.
kind of, lead you. I can see you have a Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
this
okay.
is the
And anyways,
connection I have.
that's okay. And
Sorry.
I wanted to stop you there. So from my understanding, when you're doing this breathing, you're connecting with source. I think that's what you're
Right.
saying. And when you're connected to
Yes.
source, you're able to do all this miraculous things that the body normally wouldn't be thought of doing. So when you're doing this personally,
Absolutely, yes.
what is your experience of connecting to source? Do you feel like you've connected to source when doing this breathing? And if so, what do you experience?
Absolutely, yes. Well, if someone wants to know more details, I will have on my YouTube channel, which the name of my YouTube channel is I See You, as I See You.
Mm-hmm.
And you better enter with my name, Karine Arshakyan. So you will see some video materials that I took during this summer expedition. I guess I'm freezing.
Yeah.
The internet connection is not good.
You're
Sorry.
frozen. It's okay.
Yeah. Can
Okay,
you,
but
can
you
you hear
can't.
me?
I got you back now. You can't give us even just one little sliver of what you experience. Like, do you see when you're you close your eyes when you're breathing and see the light, or what do you feel?
At certain point, there is a feeling that you leave your body and you go to different places, and you feel very light, and you come back very, very charged. It's very hard to say for how long you actually leave, but it's not happening with everyone, and it's not that everyone is experiencing the same thing. Everyone experiencing it differently. But he had one exercise. It was surprise. He told everyone what to do. He showed it with his coaches first. So you just breathe. You don't even cup of water doesn't get involved in that. Just breathing. You breathe certain way, just literally 30 times. It wasn't even 10, 15 times. And then you hold your breath, and then you push that pressure of the air you have in your lungs. You create a pressure that gets to your pineal glands.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is certain motions you do, and you
Mm-hmm.
end up just someone needs to be there to make sure you're gonna not fall down, because you get to different dimensions.
Right.
Your body just lies down there,
It sounds like that you're,
and
it
it's not
sounds like you're
just
creating that you're going, it sounds like you're doing a Kundalini type of breathing exercise.
absolutely yes, absolutely yes, but there is cold water involved with that. He's well known with his using ice cold water. So what happened in my case, I just realized that basically when we went first day, he announced that the plan is no plan. That's what we heard, and it wasn't feeling very comfortable, because like you came to experience something. Turns out it was done purposely, because every God's day out of 6 days, well, actually 5 days, full 5 days, we were doing something that was pushing our limits to extent that we would never do it without being in that groups. Well, this ice cold water was there every day, 15 minutes in ice cold water. Let's say my husband never even was touching the ice before, but we started to practice a few years ago with my husband. So we had experience. Most of the people who came to this retreat, they had some experience. No one came out of nowhere. But then my husband couldn't even imagine touching the ice. He ended up being in ice for 15 minutes. He came out, and then he did what necessary to do to put your body's temperature back. And we all were fine. And there was a guy actually that he had paralyzed one part of his body when he was younger. And doctors would tell him that by the time you're 35, you will be in a wheelchair. He was going to the doctors, taking medication. His name is Angela. And he promised that he's going to give an interview. We're going to be on Zoom, I believe on Monday.
Right.
So that's going to be on my YouTube channel too.
Awesome.
So the guy started to, first, he realized that medication doesn't help. Of course, he didn't want to end up being in a wheelchair. He started to watch his food first. A few years ago, I didn't ask him a lot of questions because I want the interview to be alive, but I know that he had problems with his motions. Then he started to eat properly, organic food and stuff. Then he became familiar with Wim Hof method, and he started to do breathing with cold water. Well, guess what? Guy came, he was totally healthy, no paralyzed parts of body anymore. And he actually having his own practice because people around him knew that this guy was kind of handicapped, and now he's healthy. So he's having his own practice now, helping people to deal with illnesses.
That's awesome. Okay, I have to run, Karine. I've got to get to the next person. But before we go, what is your YouTube channel again, so people, if they want, can find that video?
So it's supposed to be my name, because turns out there is a lot of ICU channels, which I didn't know. I see you. I meant like I see you with my heart. That's
right.
That's why I called it.
Right.
But it has to come with my name, Karine Arshakyan, which is Karine, and last name is Arshakyan.
Right.
So you will see channel with all this video information about Wim Hof. I took a lot of videos there. I'm going to have interview with Angelo, who actually, that was miraculous healing. You can consider, but the guy was doing very consistently breathing and cold water and, right nutrition.
Right.
So, yes.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you, in the chat right now, put a link to your YouTube channel that make it easier for people to find?
Okay.
As well as you should join the Discord group, which is free to do. And why don't you leave a link to your channel there? All right.
Discord group? I didn't know. What is that? What's the name of that group?
Discord is kind of like Facebook, but different. You're welcome to join. It's totally free. You go, you set up your own profile. It was originally created, and then you in my description right now, there's a link to join my personal rooms. It's kind of like chat rooms, but you can post video, you can video chat, audio chat, you can do whatever you want there, and you're welcome to go there and
thank you.
post your links.
I will. Perfect. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
All right, Karine, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming back and sharing with us. It was great seeing you again, and
Thank
stop
you.
by again.
Thank you
Don't be
for having
a
me.
stranger.
Anytime I have anything supernatural, I will let you know.
Great. All right. Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. You too.
All right, so let's get Merlin in here. Merlin, we haven't had our weekly tarot reading yet. Uh-oh. Right. I've been having a lot of trouble working with this thing this evening. So there's 220. I lost 2 people. There's 227 of you here. So we should have a bunch of you in line. So if you're thinking about coming in and sharing, now is the time to do it. The line's gone down. Merlin, welcome. How are you this week?
Feeling better. I was sickish. I don't think I'm going to do anybody this Sunday because I have 2 people I have to get to still. I had 3, so I was able to do theirs earlier this morning. So I still have 2 people to do on Discord. So
Okay.
I want to get them done first before I accept anybody else.
All right. And what Merlin is talking about is he does free tarot readings in Discord, and I set it up for people who want to practice whatever service they provide. Like he does tarot, and Typo does, I think, energy healing, and there was another guest recently that I think she was supposed to do some healing for people there, and I'm not sure if she joined. So that's in the room called services. And for those of you that are new, Merlin is my weekly tarot reader and gives the podcast a reading. So I don't see any cards, but I'm assuming
I got them right.
They're just off camera. So let's get a reading today. And what cards are you using?
The Angel deck.
The Angel deck.
I love my favorite.
That means we're going to get a good reading today if it's your favorite one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. My readings are always good though. So I tell myself.
You know, I needed to get a reading from you the other day, and I wish you could have given me the numbers to win the $1 billion lottery.
Right. Well, yeah. That's cheating though, isn't it?
I don't know. I saw that actually one person won that. One person won the 1.2 billion in Indiana.
Yeah, the odds are just like you have better odds of becoming an NBA player and then winning that thing. So, it's possible though, I guess. Okay, I'm just going to take cards from the top, 3 cards, and I'm not even going to have to shuffle this time. I'll just draw from the deck still for clarification. We'll do it that way this time. Okay. Again, this is pile 1 for everyone. So whatever you feel like drawn to, that is what your card from 3 piles. That was what your card will be. So from my left, and it'll appear as my right to you guys, is pile 1, 2, and 3. And I'll just give you guys a couple minutes, or not minutes, but a couple seconds to pick.
Yeah.
And again, this will work for people that are watching the replay. This will still apply because still your energetic frequency will still attune and align with whatever card that is meant for you. Okay, that makes sense.
Right. So if you're out there, you've got to choose pile 1, 2, or 3.
Correct. That's right. I'm gonna go ahead and reveal them now.
All right.
Okay. For those of you that picked pile 1, you got the King of Air. Okay, guys. And I'll read the description for you. The King of Air is the King of Swords. Okay. It says, speak your mind with confidence, seek out professional advice, balance mental and emotional considerations. The key words up here is brilliant, impartial, professional, diplomatic. Basically, you're using your intellect instead of more. You have control of your emotions, and you're relying upon logic and reason for your decision-making process. Okay, the clarification card is the 5 of Earth with that. So that ties to earthly, the 5 of Pentacles. It ties with earthly matters, finances, and stuff like that. Okay. This says fear surrounding money, the wisdom to accept help from others, uncertain self-employment. Excuse me. So sorry. And so yeah, so a lot of people have fear. So if you're drawing from pile one, use your reasoning skills and make more wise decisions concerning your money, so you won't live in that fear. So maybe save. Okay, pile two, folks, you got the 9 of Earth, which is also regarding money, but in reverse position. Okay, so this is financial stuff. You you're this isn't really good. You're not living in a place of abundance here right now. I feel like you don't have that luxury. You're not able to enjoy life. Okay, but the clarification card is the Ace of Air. This is crazy. It's in order right now. Air and Earth. It's crazy. So Ace of Swords, brilliant new ideas, inspiration, seeing the truth of a situation, challenging beginnings. That makes sense. You're not living in luxury like you want to, because you're not using the gifts bestowed upon you. You're not coming from a place of inspiration. You're not looking upon that. You're living in fear instead of using your, again, logic and reason. Comes with the swords, and it's fast creativity, thought processes, stuff like that. Use logic. Okay. So pile 3, folks, you got the Hermit in reverse. Okay, so I'll flip it around for you guys so you can see. Hermit reverse. Okay, that means a lot of you have been in seclusion, and it's now time for a lot of you in pile 3, the ones that picked pile 3, to come out of being a hermit and come back to the world. Or you may have already started the process of doing so, and you are now getting back out there if you've been taking a break from maybe your friends or whatever. Okay, so the clarification card is the Queen of Fire. Confident, warm, intelligent, graceful. Queen of Fire is Queen of Wands. Stretch your wings and fly. Don't underestimate yourself. Assert your independence and creativity. Okay, so that would make sense with the reemergence of people that pick pile 3. You're coming back out of your seclusion with passion and fire energy. So that makes sense. So this is pretty good energy for I guess going throughout this week. But I'll do, like I usually do, weekly cards on my page. But this will apply though still, because everything's frequency and energy. So there's all kinds of frequencies and energies that we're all dealing with on a daily basis. So yeah, so that's what I got. So hopefully this makes sense for a lot of you out there and it resonates with you guys.
Let me ask you a question. Now, basically, when you call a card in reverse, it's just the card is upside down. When you look at the other side of the card, can you tell whether the card is upside down or not?
So when I shuffle it, it's all random. But when I already lay them out, like I did, like I laid out here and here, and I said pick one, I can already tell just by, because the cover is upright. So if I'm looking at it like this, I don't know what the card is, but I can tell it's upside down. It's already in reverse. You see?
Is that something? Is that something normal in tarot readings where things can be in reverse?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's part of tarot. Like you draw it comes out in reverse. Sometimes reverse is good, like the Hermit, right? Reverse for the Hermit is great. You're coming out of seclusion. You're reemerging. But if it's in the upright, it means you need to go in and become the Hermit. You know, so reverse is not always bad. And look at the Death card. Death in the upright it's not a bad. It's a death and rebirth of a new beginning. Now, if you had the Death in reverse, right? It means you're fighting against the birth of a new beginning. You're fighting against it. So you're slowing the progress there. So yeah, it's not always bad in reverse. I mean, so yeah, for tarot, reverse is normal. It's a normal occurrence.
One last question, and this is for a tarot noob like me, but how do the cards end up in reverse in the first place, upside down? That's just because of the way you've shuffled them and handled the cards, and you have no idea what's in reverse and what isn't, or Is there
I
like?
have no clue. If you see me shuffle here, I'll do it real quick for you. You see me shuffle, and the way I do it, I do it weird. I turn in like this. Hold on. See, I don't even know what card's what. Look, see, I don't even know. It's all random for me. But to sometimes the way I shuffle is a little bit different. I cut it in half. I don't know what's what. I don't know what this card is, that card is. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in reverse, and then I'll shuffle again. Truly, I have no idea what's what, and I'll cut it in half again. And so, yeah, it's random. And usually what's turning the cards is the frequencies that makes the calm spirits, gods, angels, whatever. They align it that way based on whatever your question is. It's crazy. It sounds crazy, but there's a lot of truth to it. I mean, you know me, I'm a man that likes to have evidence, because I've sent you some confirmation things about my own personal life, because I like to have that evidence for proof. And so I only do things that I know work, like my ghost box sessions. I know they work. I know it's real. But so if it's something I'm not for sure about, I will tell you. But yes, tarot is a very legitimate practice. Is there a lot of truth and there's a lot of reality to it. But the main thing you want to take away is that you are the portal, you are the power. It's not the cards. It's just a conduit of your own power. So I don't need these to do anything. But I like to have it as evidence, because if I'm just sitting here, I'm like, oh, I'm channeling so-and-so, you're not going to believe me. People are going to call me a kook. But if you have the evidence and it comes out, that's confirmation for the people, so they can believe that what you're saying is true, and they'll know you're not lying and full of it. You know, because if I don't have the evidence, because I'm a man of evidence, I like to have the proof, so people can you know, that to see for themselves. That's why I like the cards. I don't need them.
Do you ever find yourself already knowing basically what the person needs to be told even before you see the cards?
Yeah, I mean, not all the time, but I do have that energy of what's coming out the strongest from that person a lot of times. Like whatever hits me, like if it's about love or finances or they're sad or they're depressed, I can feel that, but I don't know their future. The cards help determine that. But again, it's all probability, because nothing is set in stone. Right. Everything's changing daily. If I know I'm going over time, but I want to say one more thing. You remember the trident seal I talked about?
Yeah.
There's a guy named Jacob Israel. He was talking about the trident. Now, 2 years before he even came out with the trident video in 2020, I had a dream, and I have a picture of it. And I can post it to you again. Is I told one of my friends who's a psychic she's a spiritual medium, and I told her about my dream. It says, warn people the trident seal is broken. And I didn't realize at the time, until the Ukraine stuff, that their crest is a trident, which is crazy. Now the next part is speculation, because I think there's a bunch of seals. Now, even if it was planned or not planned, with the whoever blew up Georgia Guidestones, what if that was the next seal? Because I know there was another seal for sure after it tried it. What if that was part of it? Because it has something to do with population, and there's a lot of crazy things happening, you know, because if you go watch the Leak Project, they talk about it a lot. And it's just I'm hoping that's not the case, but if it is, I'm not trying to put fear into people, but just prepare. Things don't get rocky, but I think by 2024, 2025, we're going to get out of this. Okay, it's going to start getting better. A lot of awakening. So have faith, have hope. There's a lot of crazy things. Be mad, whatever. Yeah, you gotta express your emotions. We're all human, but still have hope. Okay, that's mainly what I want to convey to everyone.
Well, Merlin, thank you so much for coming by and giving us our weekly reading. I appreciate you, and I will hopefully see you next week.
Yes, sir.
And if you want to check out more of Merlin, he does, I think, have a Facebook page. I think it's Merlin, Son of the Fae or something, right?
Oh, that's the YouTube. I named them differently. I don't know why I did that. I guess change it to one. But
yeah, it'd probably be best.
The Facebook, the Facebook page is Merlin and the Fae King's Crown, and the YouTube channel is Merlin, Son of the Fae, which you had correct, which is
Okay.
it's confusing. I'm confusing people, I know, but
Yeah.
I guess I need to change that whenever I
Yeah.
get the chance.
It'd probably be best if you have everything consistent so they can find all of them.
Mhm. Yes, sir. You're right. I'm going to do that probably as soon as I get off here.
All right, Marilyn. Well, thanks again. Have a great rest of
Yes,
your weekend.
thank you. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye. All right. Next up is Kelly. It's interesting. It made me think about I started thinking about the Georgia Guidestones. When I was, gosh, how old was I then? When I was about 19, 20, somewhere around there, I visited the Georgia Guidestones, and I have an old photo of me like sitting on the ground in front of the Georgia Guidestones. And I think it might be on my Facebook. Like I said, you're welcome to friend me on Facebook. I need to find that and kind of like repost that, because for those of you who don't know, the Georgia Guidestones, someone bombed them, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and then they decided that they were dangerous because they're giant granite stones and they had to demolish them, so they knocked them all down. So it's an unfortunate that happened, but no. Unfortunately, unfortunate things happen. All right, so next up is Kelly. And while I'm waiting for her to join us, again, 250 something people. There she is. So we are just waiting for her audio to start. Oh, it's there. You hear me, Kelly?
Yeah. Hi, Jeff.
How are you this week?
Oh, I'm good.
That's
We're getting
great.
lots of rain here in New Mexico, so it's pretty nice. Overcast keeps it from getting too hot.
Isn't this that kind of the monsoon season for southern New Mexico, West Texas area?
Mm. Yeah, I'm not really close to West Texas, but they're going to get it probably more severe over there, probably like with tornadoes and hailstorms, I would imagine. But where I'm at, it's mostly usually just rain.
So
we don't really have.
I'm sorry.
We don't have tornado problems here. Maybe once every year, couple of years.
Now, she was here before and we talked about there was a portal on this land. Did you go back and check to see if you could, anything with that portal?
Not yet. We're getting, trying to turn this up. Our afternoon thunder showers. And either that or it's just been so hot during the day. But I'm going to get out there. I'll tell you what happens. I think I'll record too, while I'm on the property.
And here's a little thing to think about. If you want to know where she is, if you've seen the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, and where she was with all those giant satellite dishes they called the Array, and that's about 20 miles approximately where she's from in Socorro, New Mexico. So we're kind of locating everybody to where you're at.
Miles west of Magdalena. Now I'm about a half hour. One thing on that movie I noticed though, they're showing a scene. Jodie Foster, I haven't watched it in a long time, but Jodie Foster is sitting there where the dishes are. And they're showing all these big, deep canyons, and it's just real beautiful scenery. There's no canyons out there. It is flat grassland.
Right. I've been there. And actually, that's a funny thing that I keep referring back to my personal Facebook page. The picture on my personal Facebook page itself, if I just make sure, is a picture of the Array. You go to my name's Jeffrey Reynolds, and if you look at my top picture, I made this kind of like funky picture of the Array, and you'll see it there. And I put it like in this fisheye lens thing, but that's that. And I don't know if it was, I've been there twice. One time my wife and I were driving through there, and then a long time ago, me and some friends went there, and I don't know if you know, there's like a museum there or something. You're welcome to donate some money, and you can walk around, and you can see different things about the Array. And if you're into that stuff, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and they have a lot of pictures on the wall from the movie Contact, when they were filming. It's a little gift shop. I don't know if it's open right now because COVID shut it down. So I don't know if they've reopened that gift shop or not, but I think you can probably still go there, just walk around outside. They have like sundials and, you know, different activity things you can mess with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty neat. All right, so what do you have to share with us this week?
Well, I thought I would share a couple of ghost stories.
All right.
And so they might not be that huge, fascinating now that there's YouTube, but you know, back when this happened, you know, it was before YouTube, I think. And then one after, but I wasn't into it, you know, watching YouTube. But I used to live in Maryland, and my son he wasn't quite 4 years old yet. My daughter, she was, I think, in middle school. And so we lived in this old farmhouse, and the farmhouse is 2 stories, and the stairs were pretty steep. You know, they had like the narrow stairs, kind of dangerous going up the stairs. But downstairs, there was like the living room, and then looking across the living room, there was another room we never did anything with. So we just had all the kids' toys in there. And between those 2 rooms was the staircase and the front door. And, you know, so anyway, you know, I don't think I ever paid attention to ghosts or thought about ghosts before. And when we moved into this house, and sometimes it'd be in the living room, and you would hear the toys in the toy room getting played with, and kind of catch your attention. And I'd go in there, and there's nobody in there, right? Thinking maybe the kids are in there, you know, maybe my daughter took my son and they're playing with toys. And so this would happen pretty often. And you know, those old toys, I think maybe it was a telephone with the eyeballs that move, and you pull it with the string, and when you pull it, the eyeballs move, you can hear it making noise.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would hear that thing going off in that room, and go in there, and nothing looks like it's been moved. And anyway, I was getting close to, so it was just enough to catch your attention, but it wasn't scary. It's just like, what is going on, you know? And so it was getting real close to time for me to move from Maryland to New Mexico. And I would say probably the past few weeks, the noise started really ramping up in the house. And like now you'd hear it in the kitchen, you know, it was just anywhere. But one night it was pretty late, and I was dozing off in the chair downstairs in the living room, and the kids were in bed, and I had a baby gate at the top of the stairs, so I didn't have to worry about my son. You know, I was always just fearful he's going to fall down those stairs. And anyway, I was dozing off, or maybe I was asleep, and then all of a sudden I heard this. It was like something heavy falling down the stairs, and it was like boom, 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 boom. It was like crashing down the stairs, and then it hit the front door. And being like old farmhouse, it had the glass, you could hear the glass rattle. It was like slammed into the door. And I mean, my first thought was my son, and I just jumped up, and I was like, Josh, and it was just a few steps to that, where that area was, and there was nothing there. And I went running upstairs. The kids were sound asleep. And anyway, so yeah, it was starting to get pretty scary. I don't know, because the ghost didn't want us to move or what. Now, I never seen any ghosts, but my daughter would tell me, I don't remember it so much then, but now she's an adult, and she's like, yeah, Mom, remember I tell you, you know, there was a ghost in my room, and they kept messing with stuff in her room while she was in there. But anyway, moved from there to New Mexico, and my mother was living here. And so when she got down to her, you know, last couple of years, she really couldn't live by herself. And so I ended up moving into her house to be there with her. And she used to tell me about ghosts in that house. And I didn't really think anything of it. And it was an old house. It was probably 1950. and it was a big brick house. It was long. It was so like on one end of the house was like the kitchen, the
ranch
dining
style.
room, living room. Oh,
I
huh?
think we call those houses, those big, long, one-story houses, like a ranch style house.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. It was a ranch house. And so way on the other end is a hallway, and it actually was like an L and where the bedrooms are. And so one night I took the small bedroom that was front real close to the foyer that led to the other part of the house so I could hear my mom if I needed to. And anyway, I was laying in bed and had my eyes closed, and I could hear my son. He had the way back bedroom, and I could hear him coming up the hallway. And I figured, well, he's going into the kitchen, maybe get a drink of water or something. Then I'd hear him come back, and I'm laying there, just didn't think much of it. But this happened like 2 or 3 times, and it's late. I don't remember how late it was, but he's got school the next morning. And so finally, the last time it was like I was kind of woke up because I heard him coming up the hallway, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna catch him when he's coming back. It's like, get your butt in bed. And so I hear him coming back, and it's hardwood floors, so you could hear, and I could hear like maybe like if your pant legs were swishing back and forth. And so I'm waiting for him because I'm gonna catch him just as he passes my door. And so I hear him coming, and then there's nothing. There's no noise. And I'm like, what is he doing? It's like the foyer's right there. And I'm waiting for him. And I didn't want to get out of bed. And I waited and waited and waited. And he never passed the door. And so finally I got up. There was nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to his bedroom. He was sound asleep. And so I got kind of creeped out.
Yeah.
And so I went into my mom's room and asked her, if she heard walking back and forth through the house, because that was the ghosty kind of stuff she would tell me about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went in there. I was like, Mom, I think I heard your ghost. I said, did you hear it? She's like, yeah. And so I slept with her that night.
Wow.
Now I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
And I was not sleeping with you. And probably for about 2 or 3 weeks after that, I slept with the light on.
I don't blame you. Well, I would think it sounds like the ghost was friendly, or at least not, wasn't going to hurt anybody. So.
Yeah, I asked the neighbor who actually ended up building that house. The neighbor next door, she was a real old lady, and it was her dad had that house. They owned a whole block.
Mm-hmm.
It was before Socorro was built up with a bunch of homes. So a lot of people had acreage, and they had a big irrigation well behind. So on one side of the house was actually we call it the Hilton house, Conrad Hilton. And so the lady next door that my mom bought this house from, they were the sole owners, like since her dad started building that house in 1949.
Mm-hmm.
And said he was just meticulous about everything. She said he would go to work and he'd come back and he'd see one little tiny thing out of place. I think she said he had them tear the chimney down like 3 times until it was perfect.
Wow.
But they ended up buying the Hilton house from Mrs. Hilton, and then bought this lot. So they lived in that house. But anyway, so it was sole owners. So I was able to ask her, when she was living there. My mom didn't want me to say anything to her,
Mm-hmm.
but I had to, if she noticed anything. So I'm almost guessing it might have been her dad.
So this is the Hilton from the Hilton family. Is that what you're speaking of? Conrad Hilton, like Paris Hilton's grandfather or something?
Yeah, it might have been her great grandfather or something. I think I don't know if he got his start in San Antonio. That's just 10 miles south of Socorro.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize they're from New Mexico, that family.
I don't know if they're from here. I didn't really research it much. But I believe the first name was Conrad, but he built that house, and then this family, they bought that house from him in the whole block. and then they ended up building 2 more homes.
Did they start the Hilton hotels in New Mexico?
Well, it's the Hilton family you're thinking of.
Right. Was their first hotel in New Mexico?
Maybe in San Antonio, which is
San
just
Antonio,
like 10
New
miles
Mexico.
south
Right. Oh, that's
of
pretty cool.
Sapporo.
Great. That's kind of cool to have that history.
So,
Well, Kelly, thank you for coming and sharing. I've got to run. I've got to get to the
Yeah.
next person, but nice seeing you again. And, have a great
I
rest of
always-
your weekend, and don't get too wet with all the rain there.
Oh, I know. Is Jeffrey Jeffery or Rey?
Rey. Jeffrey
Oh,
Reynolds.
and I wanted to mention too that I used to be a Reynolds,
Oh, wow.
spelled the same way too,
Yeah.
in Texas.
There you go.
So anyway, thanks, Jeff. We'll
All
see
right.
ya.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Have a great weekend. All right. So up next is Ronnie. Well, at least I'm assuming it's Ronnie. Ronnie, this person could be on Ronnie's iPhone. Could be someone completely different. Someone here says Conrad Hilton was born in San Antonio, New Mexico. So that's pretty cool. And here we got another one that says Cisco, Texas was the first Hilton that Conrad built. That's amazing. That is amazing that we find out about that family. I had no idea. Right?
It's the audio. What does that say, Stella?
Just start the video. It's not the same. Okay, ready?
He wants
Ronnie
me.
has help.
Wait,
There's
am
Ronnie.
I on?
You're here.
Oh my God! Look at the way I look.
Welcome.
You're on.
I can't believe I'm doing this. You
Well,
just got out of the pool with my grandkids.
hello,
I'm watching
grandkids.
everybody.
Hi, everybody.
They all know that Nanny and the spirits, they all come around me. So I
Mhm.
figured oh Jesus, I'm seeing on the
So are you Ronnie or somebody else? Or are you just using
Ronnie,
Ronnie's
my name-
phone?
yeah, I'm Veronica's my name.
Veronica?
And
Are
the
you
dog is Truman. And yeah, they call me Ronnie.
are you from
Yeah.
New York or Massachusetts or where?
I'm New Yorker.
Okay,
Brooklyn
I
and
was
then
trying
Long
to
Island. But now I'm in Florida. Now I'm in Florida.
Oh, you
The dog.
betrayed New York and went to Florida.
Not, I
I'm
went
just
to
kidding.
Florida. You wouldn't know it 20 years ago. And because my husband wanted to reconnect with his father, but then he died after 2 years. But we stayed here.
Mm.
You know what? I'm gonna crack up laughing. I can't believe we're doing this. She goes, "Go, Nanny, come on, let's tell the stories."
Well, let's tell
So
us
what-
the story. What do you got for us?
Oh, look at me.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I don't like the way I look on there. Can you turn that TV off? So what story do you want to tell when we went to Fort Benning? Okay, so we're a military family, and we went to Fort Benning,
Mm-hmm.
and that place is haunted as heck.
Wow.
I mean, very haunted. So
Now this is Fort Benning, Georgia, right?
yes, Columbus, yeah.
Right.
And when my daughter went to move, my son-in-law is a major in the Army. In fact, he's gone now. We're at their house. And I can't look at the TV because I'll lose my train of thought. So turn the volume down, Griffin. So what happened? So I take my granddaughter Stella for my other granddaughter's birthday party. And when we go there, she just started violently puking, like things happen like that.
Okay.
And she was so sick. So she didn't make it to the party. She was sleeping. And when I went outside, all the Army wives were sitting around. They go, "Where's your granddaughter?" I go, "Oh, she's sleeping. She was puking." And they all went like this. I go, "Why?" What are you looking at me like that for? And they go, I go, "It's haunted, isn't it?" And they all, yeah. And then they show me pictures of orbs and all different things around there, telling stories. And I already picked up the energy there. And then me and my bright ideas, when they all left the house, I had the white sage and I went to sage and I opened the doors. The friggin' doors all started slamming.
Wow.
Yeah, I should have never done that.
Someone got angry.
Very angry. But you got to understand, this house was built in 1920. It was right across the street from Dwight Eisenhower's house, right down from the generals. And people, you know how many knocks on the door they got? So many. There's a movie called, what is it? My Soldiers, Our Soldier. I don't know what. God, what was the name of the damn movie? Oh, sorry. Anyway, so a lot of tragedy happened there.
Oh, was
and
it?
what I realized is you don't mess around. You know, like whoever's there, they want to be there. So, and every time I go there, the lights would blink. I could talk to them, ask them questions. I got to know them and saying hi. But when I was there that one time, my daughter would say, "Mom, they know you're coming." We're driving and I'm with my granddaughter and a ladder comes flying at us. The car breaks down, everything. So finally, after 3 years, I made peace with who's ever in the house. And but they would always I could say anything and the lights would just stop blinking. Just ask them a question. It was crazy. It was like a telephone call from the other side. And here's my grandson. He wants to talk. He wants to tell his ghost story. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
You want to talk yet?
Sure.
Am I driving you nuts?
No.
Okay.
I had a grandpa who died 2 years ago. It was sad. Wait, which story?
What story? He was knocking on the wall.
Oh,
I would read them all the time. I let him.
I have two.
I get goosebumps. I can read people.
These are not like long stories. These are short.
All right, hurry up. Tell that story because other people
it was
are waiting.
3 a.m. or something, like 3:20, 3 a.m.
All right.
20, and I was going to get my Gatorades. I like them, and then I passed.
Look at Jeff.
I passed by the coffee machine, and then I heard like something by it. And
Knocking.
Yeah, like knocking.
We're both lefties, by the way. I think we're like,
Me too.
and she is a lefty. We're more open-minded to this. Go ahead. And
the coffee machine shaking too.
And it was
Yeah,
shaking,
was
and the
shaking.
lights were blinking.
Kinda. I can see.
I feel him around him.
Yeah.
He's around
Wait.
him a
Let me
lot.
see if he's around. I can.
Oh no! Don't get the lights blinking now. That's imagine.
Wow, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
That would. And there's
Wait.
my other little guy. He's sleeping.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Fort Benning. There's so many stories. I wouldn't even know where to begin. But yeah, and Grandpa.
Yeah. And
They all believe. They know. They see it. Wherever I go, the lights blink.
What's great that they're not afraid of it.
and
No.
today, wait.
Wow. Can I tell the funny story? She doesn't want me to tell.
Wait.
Her-
That's moving up there.
All right,
over there
nothing's
is
moving. All right, stop it. Do it. Okay, I'm going to tell one funny. It's not really funny. Her great grandmother died, and I inherited a big box of all her arts and crafts. She was a beautiful woman, an artist. So I'm in the hallway and I'm taking it out for my one granddaughter. I go, "Oh, this is Patsy," and she was a beautiful woman. And above the light just started blinking, and like, "Thank you." And then I go, "Oh my God," I get nervous, and then Ava goes, "Oh my God, Nanny." I go, "Don't get scared. Don't get scared." I go, "When Stella comes, this one," I go, "We're gonna tell her to ask for Grandma Patsy." So she comes in the little hallway. 5. You about 5? And what did you say?
She screamed.
She screamed, yeah.
Mm.
We go, "Patsy, Stella's here," and she. What did you do?
I don't know. Never mind.
She's shy. So I go, "Stella," and the lights started blinking, and she screamed and ran out the back door. And my daughter goes, "What did you do? Don't be doing that with the lights." And then, like, every time I would come back from Fort Benning, they like messing with my husband. It was fun. They would always, like, they would follow you. But I would go to the graveyard at nighttime, and I got so many cool pictures. A lot of cool pictures.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I
You
don't know if
gotta
I should
talk to
call you
someone.
Ronnie or Veronica, but Ronnie, thank you so much for
I just
joining
had a
us.
good idea.
I really appreciate you. I've got to run to the next person, but
Yes, please
have a
do.
great rest of your weekend with your grandchildren.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank
right.
you for all you do.
Well, thank
Bye.
you very much. Bye-bye. All right. Don't report. And next we got Tina. And last time Tina was here, we were talking about her encounter with Bigfoot. And she's been having some kind of ongoing encounter. So we'll see what's up with what's going on with her. Tina, can you hear me? Maybe her audio's not there yet. I shouldn't have turned it off. Yeah, her audio's not there yet. Tina, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. So what is the latest with your ongoing encounters with Bigfoot?
Oh my goodness. Well, I actually haven't seen him or like felt like he was around. So I actually thought he was mad at me.
Mad at you?
And yeah, I thought he was mad at me. I've just been going through some serious hardcore ascension and like shedding some like the rest of my religious programming, so to speak, which he was helping me with, but I felt I don't know how to explain it. I just felt so stupid for all of the things that I was like buying into and believing, and kind of like forgot for a while. Like, I was abducted, and after I was abducted and escaped, I turned to Christianity and church.
Okay.
And I kept telling myself this is the most compassionate thing to do for myself while I heal. And but I started having dreams that I was leaving church, and I wasn't friends with those people anymore, and that's where Bigfoot's been teaching me. They've been teaching me like the true history of the earth and leading me to have interactions with people who were like pointing the way to true history and of the earth and stuff like that. So I was like kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I kind of bought into all these lies, and I'm like, I thought, well, Bigfoot must be humbling me for
You're starting to make me think that Bigfoot is a demon and tricking you.
no, not like that. No, more like I really wanted to follow like Jesus and stuff like that, and he's like, well, if if you want to follow Jesus, you might want to know like the real name for him, like I can't even remember what it's called, Yeshua or something like that. Anyways, I just have been learning a lot about all the lies that have been told about him, about the Christ. Anyways, so I thought he was like, maybe these Bigfoot are too, like, I'm not good enough for them. That's kind of like how I was feeling.
Well, I remember was it you, or I'm sorry if I'm getting guests mixed up, but one of them, a guest, I think it was another guest. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So anyways, I went to the forest today, and as soon as I got on the trail, like I usually don't think about him till I'm into that part of the woods where I saw him, but immediately I got on the trail and I saw a glassy figure, like invisible glassy figure, walk by me, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's him. I know that's him. Yeah.
Cool.
So
well,
I was
he's still with you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so I've been feeling like I had another crazy encounter in a different set of woods, and this little thing came up. It flew up and touched my forehead, and then turned around and flew away. And I was like, oh my God, maybe that was a fairy. And And I'm like, no, come on, this is too much, you know. But that's what Bigfoot's been teaching me, that we are all nature spirits, all of us. And the fairy realm is real. It's real. And the same spirit that inhabits the Bigfoot and the fairy is the same spirit that inhabits all of us. We're all these nature spirits made of the earth. And we are God. We are God. God is expressing through all of us. And so when I went for my ride today, I saw Sunny, and then after I was done, I thought I want to get off my bike and walk through the woods on a different little trail and see if I see any signs of Bigfoot. Because I like their structures and their glyphs that they make. Like, I like finding them. And so I'm walking in there, and I see a big, huge, giant eye that's like made out of trees, and then there's like some sticks and things that they tied together at the top of this eye. And I'm like, yay, you know, like it's another portal. Because if you remember, like years ago, I told you about when I was in the woods and there was that tree that grew together and made the form of an eye in the trees, and that red elk invited me to go through, and I was excited to go through there. And but this one felt different. It felt like it was like fairy realm stuff. And so I walked through there, and I'm like, well, maybe they'll start communicating with me. And that's what they started doing. And they were talking to me about, like, basically, if you have the desire to ascend and to be part of the one and express God with love, basically that's all you need to do. All the meditations and breathing techniques and things that we're doing, those aren't what make us ascend. Those are what help us to acclimate to the ascension as we're going through it, because it's very intense. And so, like, one of the things that Bigfoot was teaching me was like, we're very shallow breathers here. And like, I went to refining school, I went to etiquette school, and I had to learn to walk with my tummy tucked in and a book on my head. And like, it's so totally opposite of how we're supposed to be breathing, because that breath keeps us in connection with God's source when we're engaging our diaphragm. Like, most people aren't even engaging their diaphragm, and especially for people who have experienced trauma, we're like constantly holding our breath and forgetting to breathe, which causes disease and all this stuff. So the fairy realm, I don't know, I didn't see a fairy. All I ever saw was that one that touched my head and turned around and flew off, but I could feel them, I can hear them talking to me. And they're telling me that there's the only the desire, and that's it. You have the desire to express love to all beings and be love, then you're going to experience ascension. Your vibration and frequencies are going to elevate. And in order to acclimate to that and not get too overwhelmed, it's important to meditate, and it's important to have really deep, engaging your diaphragm breathing.
It's so amazing that you're talking about breathing. And an hour ago, we had Karine on talking about the Wim Hof breathing method. So
Yeah.
I love how, you know, usually it's one podcast kind of leads to another one, the synchronicities, and now we have it in the same night. So maybe that is a sign from the universe that we should all take a look at the Wim Hof breathing so we can all breathe better.
Yes, that was the first one that that I was led to. And then, like I said, the synchronicities, people have contacted me off after being on your show. And one of them is Michael Harrell, Harrell. He has a YouTube channel, and he teaches I want heart light meditation, and that's also deep breathing and engaging your diaphragm, but also as you're doing that, imagining light in your heart. And this lights up your brain and your guts and everything else. And nature spirits are attracted to it because that's our natural way of being. Our natural way of being is exactly like Bigfoot. We were created to be interdimensional beings and have all of these superpowers, and we've been dumbed down, and our lifespans cut short because of it. So they are reaching out to us. Nature spirits are reaching out to us to help us return to our natural original creation, our highest potential. So yeah, the breathing and filling yourself with light, and go out into nature and express your desire to connect with them in a peaceful, loving way. And I promise you that they will start reaching out to you. They will reach back because it's like time. Like it's time.
Those are great words. And I'm going to end it on that because I've got to run to the next two people.
Love you guys. Bye.
But thanks for popping in and saying hello, Tina, and have a
You're
great rest of
welcome.
your weekend.
You too. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay, next up is Soren. Admit. We'll see what Soren's up to. And it says joining. So she'd be here very shortly. We have her audio there. We just don't have her video there.
Love you guys. Bye.
And I can... Soren, how are you? Now I can still hear the YouTube playing. Can you mute the YouTube? And
I think I successfully muted it.
I want to congratulate you for being a part of the Human Beings Society, being with the rest of us.
Thank you. Thank you. You're a member also.
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. You may not have a plaque.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very proud of that plaque. So, I'm close to the head.
The head of the... Who is the head?
Well, it's a mysterious woman.
It's a mysterious woman, all right.
Yeah, not much is known about her. But anyway, nice to see you.
Likewise.
And I came on to talk about dreams.
Cool. What do you lucid dream?
Well, I'm trying to. I have a friend who lives a couple hundred miles away, and we decided we should practice our telepathy and lucid dreaming in case all communications break down. So I've been paying quite close attention to my dreams and keeping a dream journal and so on. So
fantastic.
A couple of things. One is that I remember them almost every night, and I write them down. And one morning I remembered a dream. And you know how when you remember a dream, it's like you get up and you sit on maybe on the edge of your bed, or you sit up in bed, and the dream is like, it's right there. You're in it. You're still in it. You can see that dark. You can see that feel, you're in it. But then something distracts you and you just look away for a minute, and then you look back, and the feeling of it being right here remains, but all the content is gone. So I had this feeling, you know how we talk about that we live in all these different dimensions, and some people can see right through the veil to the other dimensions, that dreaming is like that, I knew I was dreaming, and I knew what the dream was, but something distracted me. I looked away, and it's like, all you have to do to go to another dimension is make this slightest little subtle curve up through the veils, but I couldn't do it for the life of me. However, does that make sense?
Yes. Now,
yeah.
Let me
It's
ask,
like it's right there.
do you normally dream of people that you know or people that you've never seen before?
Normally, I dream of people who I know, or I sort of know their types, and they're alive. But the dream I want to tell you about is a dream with two people who are no longer alive.
You think it's a visitation dream? Or
I guess that's what you'd call it. That maybe that's what I was seeking a name to call it, because it was not like a regular dream. And as I was thinking about coming on here, well, not only are they not alive, I mean, I do have dreams of a couple of people who are dead. But in this particular dream, it was my cousin and his wife, and they were busy plodding away, doing things that they do in their domain, and then there I was, and they were, my cousin, a male cousin, was saying to me, he was giving me a big download on how things work in his dimension beyond life.
Wow.
You take this and then you do that, and then you mix. At one point he said you sprinkle a little star anise on it, anise, or however you say that
Right.
spice name,
Right.
ground. And then so I kept trying to follow the instructions, and I'd say, did you say you put this in first, or this in first, or you do this or you do that? And then he would, in a very patient way, get kind of exasperated with me and say, you're trying to bring the laws of logic and materiality up here to take it down, and you can't. You must just be in this realm. But I kept trying to negotiate between the two realms, and consequently I have no idea of the content of what he was saying, but I had a distinct feeling that he was speaking to me from another realm, and in a very relaxed way, telling me that he knew how it all worked and it was all good, it was all fine, and his wife was over there, and they were not very close in life, and they were not very close in wherever they were either.
Did he look like he did at the time that he passed, or did he look youthful, younger?
Totally. He always looked the same. He looked the same for 20 years. It was just him. He looked the same.
Have you had another dream with him since?
Pardon me?
Have you had another dream with him since that one?
No. But another thing that happened in that dream, to be very graphic, his wife was over there on a bed, and she had a baby in front of my eyes. And it wasn't a baby that she had in real life, because it was a girl and she's only had a boy. But the baby was about this big. And there was a doctor, and he brought the little bundle over and put it in her, where she was lying on a bed. And she was already sleeping after giving birth. And that was that. And I had the distinct feeling that I was watching her relive an abortion.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, so it was all like my being not in a dream, but rather my being, for some reason, transported to another domain where my cousin and his wife were just busy leading their new lives.
Maybe
and trying to tell me how I could understand it, but then telling me that I was getting it all wrong, because I tried to translate it into our terminal, into something that makes sense for us.
That's interesting. I mean, maybe you were connecting with them in their new life in a new dimension.
I was. And long ago, when my mother died, I went by accident to see a medium, and this medium, one of the first things she said was, your mother is with, and she named his sister, who had previously died at a very young age. And my mother knew her, but not well. And this medium told me, oh yeah, they're hanging around together. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So now so maybe that whole family is sort of like,
a soul group,
waiting for the rest of us to come home.
Did the medium know this other person's name?
Yeah.
Was that shocking for you?
Yeah, because it's an unusual name.
What is the name, if you don't mind sharing?
Roberta.
Roberta. Yeah, that isn't a name you'd normally.
There aren't a whole lot of Robertas.
Right, that you would just pick out of the
Yeah, and it
blue.
just came right out. You know, you go, wow.
That's pretty amazing.
That wasn't all that she said that was shocking.
Well,
So anyway, you call it a visitation dream, huh?
Well, you know, what I love about this podcast is I'm just like the audience, and I learn along with you guys. And luckily, I have a new guest basically every day, and a lot of times I'm learning new stuff as well. And I've had quite a few, I don't know quite a few, but I've had a handful of guests that are dream quote unquote experts and not experts. And one of my guests was the only one that, you know, told me the difference between a visitation dream versus a dream with somebody that you're just sorting out your past with them.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, I had a visitation dream like that years ago. We were casting a play and we needed a character to play a dead person.
Mm-hmm.
And so my acting teacher, who was dead, came onto the dream scene and said, I can do that. He volunteered. So that's like he visited a dream that was a dream of the here and now. But this dream that I had this week was not of the here and now. It was me being teleported up to another domain.
I'm going to tell you guys, I'm sure that some of the people have heard me say this before, and I'm going to say it real quickly. And there's a new addition to this. I had a dream one time. It was like as real. I was with a friend. We were sitting in a cafe, and some being, I can't remember what the person looked like, told me that the reason that global warming is happening is because the angle of the earth, the way it goes around the sun, it's not a circle, it's kind of an oval, very slight oval. And he said that it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
It's changed, and that's what's causing the global warming. And the reality of it was the thing that struck me the most, as well as that. And it was something that why would I dream that? You know, it's just like, that was like the strangest dream. Anyways, fast forward, I don't know how many years, but the other day I had a guest on, and we were talking before the podcast, and we weren't talking about this, but he's a meteorologist for the government. And I had been thinking this, but he told me this without even me asking him, that the seasons are changing. They have shifted. Everything is starting later. And I was even thinking about asking him that, because I felt like summer starts later, everything goes later. And I was surprised that he said that. And I just keep thinking about it on and off. And I'm going to write him and say, you know, what is the mathematics on that? That the oval must have shifted for if the seasons are shifting, if that's really true. The math has shifted, or their calculations of the way the earth goes around the suns would have to have shifted.
It wouldn't have been a jump shift. It would have been a subtle, continuous shift.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what would cause that? Either the tilting of the planet or the change of the ellipse?
What would cause a change in the ellipse?
What would cause the seasons to shift?
What would cause the ellipse to shift? The seasons to shift.
Why would summer start later, winter start later, everything start a month later, a couple weeks later?
We need that observer who's not on Earth to check that out for us.
Right.
And write back.
Right.
It's hard to say.
Yes.
Hard to say about that tilt, you
Right.
know? You read about it in your science book in the 7th grade, and that's it. You know, it kind of stays the same tilt. I think it's 30 degrees.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, that's why the Pyramid of Giza is at 30 degrees.
I didn't know that. By the way, I'm going to have a guest on I'm just going to promote my podcast. I think I'm going to post this on probably Tuesday, that we talked about that the pyramids were built 17,000 years ago. So that's a little plug for Tuesday's podcast.
Good.
Anyways,
What's the person's name?
the person's name is a man. This podcast is a man named Samuel Chong. He is a translator and a court reporter in Los Angeles. Speaks fluent Chinese, and we talked about a famous book called. Oh gosh, I just recorded it today. It's by Michel Desmarquet. He's a French guy that was abducted, and he was taken to a planet called Theauba. And for 9 days, and we talked about that, and he wrote this book, and he left and lived his life in Vietnam, and the book is a bestseller in China and a #1 bestseller in Taiwan.
Great.
And it was pretty fascinating, and some really alternative views of not only that, but of the history of the Bible, the history of mankind, and
Fantastic.
I think it may be shocking for people.
Oh, I can't wait. That's coming right up, huh?
That'll be on Tuesday. I'm planning on posting that.
Oh, you mean you haven't done the interview
I've
yet?
already done the interview. It's in line to be edited.
Oh, I see.
Right. I've got
Thank
2
you,
more.
Mara.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mara. Yeah, she said hi. So on that note, I've got to run. I've got 2 people waiting on me, but thanks for popping in, Soren. Nice seeing you
Thank you.
again, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Mr. Cake. We haven't seen him yet. I've seen him in the chat, but we have not seen him live with us. And for those of you that don't know, Steven is our #1 most dedicated contributor. He has never missed a show. And he is consistent. And there he is.
I asked for some requests. And so we'll bring, I got a friend here with me. So
all right.
Like Star Wars character. Oh, well, I got a little friend with me. She follows me around everywhere I go, and she just likes having fun. So we just have a little bit of fun all the time. And she did us here to help, we dance and we sing and all things like that. But Mary,
you're freezing on us.
Something, Mary. If you want the moon, we'll give you the moon. We'll give you Mars. We'll start a mining operation on the moon. We'll build a wall around it.
You're frozen on me today. We got to get you back.
When you're a pirate, yeah, better.
Now you're back. Were you doing?
When you're a pirate,
Are you doing Jack Sparrow?
Jack Sparrow, man, is running. I had to run away from them behind. That's why I got all the makeup from, the pirates. That's why she's chasing me around. She's nuts. Do the whoop off, man. Leave me alone. She follows me around.
It's a little bit choppy. Now you're back. So what would be interesting is if you had the puppet in one hand and Monique controlling the other hand, and they battled each other.
Well, she can control everything.
And for those of you
she can control my head and my hand and everything if I let her. She'll move my head like this.
And for those of you,
like I said,
I was going to say, for those of you that are new, because there's always probably someone new here, there's I don't know if you'd call her a ghost, but Monique is with him, a being that's without a body. And was it somebody here said it today?
Yeah, so she had a life on Earth.
I thought about you when
she had a life, and she. Go ahead. Sorry.
Were you here at the very beginning with Jack?
Yeah.
And I thought about you when Jack was talking about that if you would get, what did he call those? I don't know. You would have a deity. You put the deity on your screen, and then you invite them into your life. And I know I don't think you invited Monique into your life, but you did put her picture on your computer screen. Is that correct?
psychic. Everything is mind to mind communication. So when you're looking at someone's picture, you're connecting with them psychically. Looking in a mirror and imagining them is getting through to them. So if you don't want to, if you got a problem with someone, just pretend you're talking to them, or talking to the mirror or something like that, and it'll start getting through.
What do you think about famous people? You know, like let's say, for example, you know, Kim Kardashian. I'm sure that millions of people are looking at her photos. What do you think someone famous feels?
You know what? Those people are typically ego-based, so they probably are just concerned with making themselves feel good. You know, I was driving with Matthew McConaughey. We're out there driving. He gets a little tipsy now and then. You know, woo, woo, sirens are going off, and cops pull us over, and he says, "You know who I am? I'm the guy driving the Lincoln." That's what he says. We got it right off. That's the thing. Celebrities live in a different world. They're in a bubble. They can do almost anything they want
without impunity.
Well, and nowadays, see, back then, celebrities used to be more manicured, but now they're more direct with the public, especially with social media. So it's like we're seeing who they really are. And they all got problems.
Well, they're just like the rest of us. The only difference is they're famous. That's about it. And they have money.
And they got big egos, folks. Let me tell you something. Tent city, folks. China's got all your data. We need to put everyone in tent cities. That way China can't track us.
But are they all winners like you?
They're all big winners here in Tent City. We're going to put in some casinos, the best therapists you've ever got.
By the way, it's interesting that you said that. I don't know if you guys have seen, but they're planning on building, I think it's in Dubai, a mirrored building that I don't know how many miles long with it, like 2 parallel mirrored buildings. It's supposed to cost $1 trillion. And very close together, and maybe almost somewhat like a roof life, and inside of it is supposed to be like a jungle or something. It looks pretty amazing. Has anybody seen that?
If someone says my friend is a demon, so we'll do a live casting her out, you know, like, get behind me, Satan. Sign of the cross. It doesn't work on her. She just keeps coming back. So no, because they're in the light.
I don't know if you were around then.
They're not. It works on. I've dealt with
You've dealt with
demons? Just being around a demon is just horrible. So yeah, I don't want to be around a demon.
Were you here? I'm assuming you were.
And I've also, I've communicated with my spirit guide, and they said, do not be afraid. That's the love of God. So it's like we have a natural kind of built-in fear mechanism to things that are unknown.
Were you with us when I had an exorcist on? He's a guy that's on TV. I think his name was Bill or Billy. I don't remember his last name. It didn't really. I
talked to one of your guests. He was, I think he's a Catholic. He might be an exorcist. I don't know, but he was definitely Catholic. And I actually talked to him on the phone. He was a really nice guy. I mean, but
I don't. You're not. Are you thinking of Father Nathan Castle? He's frozen again. He is frozen. Yeah, Brian says he's seen that picture.
Sorry.
Are you back? Are you back? Today is just a bad internet day on Steven's end. Usually, It's not this bad.
You.
But today is one of those days.
So it's a bad day for me today.
That's okay. Oh, he's gone. All right, so let's put in Video Amor Project. We'll admit Video Amor Project. See what's going on. Oh.
Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Hi, Video Amor. Give us 1 second. Stephen, I thought you were gone. I'll start with you. All right, I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room, Stephen. Maybe your internet will clear up while we're waiting for. Let me just do this. I don't think she realizes that it's muted.
There you are. I was muted. Hello.
You are muted. Hello. Welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello. Who are you and where are you from?
So my name is Catherine Muma. I am in Portage, Michigan. And I'm a big fan of your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think you're a wonderful host. I used to host a Q&A for the local museum's local film expo that we would do. And it's not easy, and you're just such a great moderator. You listen to everybody, and it's a great topic to listen to. So I'm glad that you give people the space, and then you always ask great questions. So really nice job.
Well, thank you. I notice your name is Video Amor. So what are you making movies, videos, or what are you up to?
It's a very old, it's actually, I need to update that. So I was a wedding videographer for a while. I'm now a corporate video producer and director. And I also teach drama to kids over the summer. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So have you had any personal experiences?
Yes. So what compelled me to come on and share, I would never do something like this. So this is very new to me.
Well, thank you for coming.
But I saw in the chat something about dreams. And then the last lady that was on was talking about dreams. So I didn't know if there was a theme going on. So I have 3 experiences that I'm glad to be able to share with you. I have always been a skeptic of stuff like this. I was born and raised Catholic. So like, it's like you're here and then you're there. And there's like really nothing in between except for maybe, praying to an angel or something like that. So something that happened to me when my best friend, we were in our 20s, and my best friend growing up was pregnant. She was 22 weeks along. And this is sad. So trigger warning. I got a call at 6 o'clock in the morning from her husband saying that she was going into labor. And it took me a while to figure out what was going on. And I was just like, that can't happen. It's too soon. So he said something to me real quick and hung up the phone. And I just sat there in shock. Like, I can't believe this is happening. So I prayed. I got down on my knees and I prayed really hard. I said, please, you can't let this happen. This cannot happen. And so time went by and I was really tired because that was early for me back then. And I had a dream. And in the dream, it was so vivid. Like, it was not like any other dream. I walked into a hospital room and I'm gonna cry. My friend was in a hospital bed and she looked at me and she said, "Isn't she beautiful?" And in the corner up above her bed was this beautiful light, the most beautiful light I'd ever seen. It was like golden shimmering light. And as plain as day in that light, I could see a baby. And I woke up from that dream and I knew what had happened. I knew that that baby was gone. And sure enough, I got a call from her husband saying that the baby hadn't survived. And so I didn't know what to do with that information. Like, I'm shaking talking about it. Like, I just felt like it was so sacred and so for some reason I had been given that, but I didn't want to upset my friend. I mean, it was a very upsetting time. Well, I didn't get to go to the funeral because I was videotaping weddings at the time, and I had one that I couldn't miss. It was just too soon. And but I did get to go. She lived hours south of me, and I did get to go see her just on my own. And she showed me everything in the baby room. It was a really sorrowful time. And then she showed me pictures, and that baby in those pictures, as hard as it was to see, that was the baby in my dream.
Wow.
And I said to her, I've seen your daughter. I've seen her. And I told her about the dream, and her husband just collapsed into each other's arms and cried. And I said, just know that this life is only so long. You'll see her again. And they were so happy that I had shared that. And so I felt like I was given that, in the right time to do it. Because, I would just never just say that to somebody. So it wasn't long after I had another visitation dream. This time it was another childhood friend. Her brother had passed in a horrible accident, taken really sudden. And so I'd known this guy my whole life. He was her older brother. He'd always be around and make fun of us and stuff like that, but he turned out to be this really great guy. He had a daughter shortly before he passed. And so I had this dream that his face was just glowing, and it was that same kind of golden glow just emanating from his face, and he had this beautiful smile. And he said to me, tell my family that I'm okay. And I woke up again with the same feeling of like, I can't do that. Like they all know me from being a kid. I used to make up stuff as a kid. Like no one's ever going to take me seriously. It had been years, Jeff, and my friend just last year asked me, can you please take a picture of us? Because I do these photos where it's kind of like composites, can you take this photo of my family? So it was his daughter, who's now grown, my friend's parents, so his parents, and her, the sister. And I said, sure. She says, but we have one request. Is there any way that you could put Mike, the brother, in the photo with us? And I was like, well, I would just need a picture of him, and they gave me the picture of him, and it was the picture. It was the same exact look he had in my dream, the same smile, the same thing he was wearing. And again, here I am, a picture has propelled me to say, I've seen this. Mike came to me in a dream and told me to tell you that he was okay. And again, they were just so ready to hear that, so it's just weird how like the journey that life takes you on to get you to where you need to be at the right place at the right time, and gives you clues to that kind of thing,
Those are amazing stories. Have you ever considered that you perhaps have some type of medium ability?
Well, after that, I definitely would be more open to it, but nothing's really happened since, you know what I mean? I'm thankful for those times, and I'm thankful that it helped those families, but I don't know if you have time for one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that happened to me when I was awake. But this takes a little backstory. My husband and I, at the time, I'm remarried now, but I was going through a really hard time with my first marriage. We were at the end, and it had been 16 years. Well, this cat had been our baby that whole time, right? It was our first animal together. She was getting sick, and it was obvious that we were going to have to put this animal down. So I was the one that took her in, and he didn't say anything to me, didn't really say goodbye to the cat. It was all very weird. And I had been struggling because, like I said, I was Catholic, like the marriage is sacred. We had kids together. I didn't want to break up the family. And we were not doing well. I was absolutely miserable. And I'd been praying, like, just let me know what I have to do. Let me know what I have to do. But I'm starting to not be able to handle this very well. And so anyways, I take this cat into the vet and my phone dies, but I'm not thinking about my phone. I'm not thinking about anything other than I'm going to put an animal down for the first time. And I was really nervous about it. No sooner do they put her down, the vet leaves and I'm crying. I'm just beside myself, sobbing harder than I ever have before. And all of a sudden, everything got still. And I don't know how to describe this stillness other than it was just like, it was almost as if you could see the molecules in the air. Like it was like crystally, there was the sound. It was almost like I was in a mouthful of Pop Rocks candy. I don't know how else to describe that, but it was just, you could tell there was a shift and it felt like something had moved through me. And this voice, as clear as day, in this moment said to me, when you charge your phone at home, if your husband hasn't reached out to you, it's okay, you can leave. And I was like, and I noticed this change in me. Like I was sobbing just seconds earlier, and now I'm calm, I'm collected. I know what I have to do. I take this cat home, I put her on my bed, I plug in my phone, I look at this phone, I wait for it to charge. And there was nothing from my husband, but there was something from a friend of mine who said, "Are you okay? I can feel you're very sad right now." Well, that friend is now my husband today. And it's just like, whoa. So that kind of thing, like, I don't know, clearly something can speak to me somehow, or I'm open to that, but I don't know if I can like actively like reach for it and it would be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Who do you think that voice was that spoke to you?
don't know. I was wondering if you were going to ask me that. So like, you know, because it's very clear that it had something to do with the passing of my cat, right? Like it was a shared death experience, but my cat's an animal. It doesn't have I don't know. So it's like, it's either my cat or it was maybe someone on the other end of this rainbow bridge that everyone talks about, you know, a close family member of mine that maybe had something to say and there was a portal or I don't know. It all sounds so crazy, but like, yeah, I mean, it came from somewhere and it was very clear. It was so clear that that's what I had to do, that, you know, for a while there, I thought it was God.
Let me ask you this.
It was that commanding.
Was the message that you heard, did you hear it in your own voice or a different voice, like a man or a female voice?
It was, I would say that it leaned more towards male, but it was a very clear, this is what you have to do voice that was not my own. And it was outside of my head. You know what I mean? Like you think like, oh, maybe I just thought that, but it was very much its own entity, like in the room, in this space that this room had become in that time.
Wow, it's amazing. I mean, I mean, it's an amazing story.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I never really told this to anybody, like a few select friends that I think like wouldn't look at me like I was crazy, because you know, time goes by and you kind of look back at that like, am I crazy? You know what I mean? And you don't want to share that with anybody for fear that they'll look at you like, okay. But, you know, having watched your podcast and stuff, like it just feels really nice to get it out there. So I really appreciate you listening.
Well, thank you for sharing, for two reasons. One, because, you know, well, really the main reason is that if people like you don't come forward and share, you know, we don't get to benefit from it, and you're helping everybody by sharing. So
yeah, that's what I've learned through your podcast. Your podcasts have definitely helped me, you know, and you're right. Like if people don't say something, you know, my dad said that to me the other day when he finally told me about some out of body experience that he had when he was 12. And I would have never thought, this is my Catholic father and I'm 42 now. So it's been, you know, he's never told me that before. So, you know, me being able to say, to open up to him, like we helped each other. And so I'm hoping for anybody out there that has had that, because I really think we could, as a human evolution, like come through somehow spiritually, and through our stories and through acknowledging that this kind of thing happens.
Well, again, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, and I'm pretty sure everybody else here appreciates you too. And, I wish you the best, and have a great rest of your weekend.
All right. You too, Jeff. Thanks.
And come back and visit us.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, so I'm a little bit over time, and I'm gonna kind of give you what's coming up this week, and if someone else shows, I'll have them on. If not, not. But I just wanted to get this out here to let you know of the upcoming videos that are coming. Tomorrow's video will be of a man and woman, and the woman is a PhD psychologist, but she's also a channeler. She channeled an alien during the podcast, and her friend have conceived a child in another dimension, and she channels that child. So that's tomorrow's video. The one after that, which will be Monday, is an NDE of a guy that I guess he basically drowned in the bathtub. And then the next one will be, as I mentioned earlier, this man Samuel Chong. Let me let this person in. Samuel Chong, who we talked about the book The Theuba Prophecy, and about some amazing potentially shocking revelations from the planet Theubia about humanity's past, and things like that. Victor.
Well, hello, Jeff. Am I online right now?
Yes. You've been with us before, right?
Yep, a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I recognize you. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I know you're about to close out the show, so I don't know if you have a minute or so.
Where are you from again?
I'm from Dallas.
Oh, from Dallas. Okay.
From Dallas, yeah.
I see the rug hanging on your wall.
Yes.
Are you what would you say is your nationality?
I'd say I'm Texan.
Oh, you are Texan. Okay. Some Texan, cultures hang rugs on the walls. So I was just curious if you were something,
It's I'm actually I put that rug up there because my sister moved in and has a cat and kept tearing it up, and so I put it up there to keep her from doing that. You might see her jump up here in a second.
Does she still try to jump up and get the rug?
She does. I have to keep moving it up higher and higher. So well, I appreciate I was listening to the show this evening, and I wanted to share one or two things just to share. A little bit of background. My father had a heart condition as a young child, and every 6 months they'd say he wouldn't live. And so he became all the way through all of his life, they thought any second he could die. So he sat there and became very intensely a student of what happens in the afterlife, about religions, about all mystical type of issues. Even became a member of the American Psychic Association at one point. But based on that, growing up in that home, I really focused on what happens. And so I kind of got into the near death since the 90s. But I came into it for trying to find a direct path, which is, for me, it was like, what is God? How is he revealing himself through these near-death experiences? And how does that differ from religions? Right. And so for me, that's where I really became very interested in near-death experiences. And you've had many good ones on here. But so I guess just in sharing, for me, it seems like the creative word of God, which I know nobody likes to hear in this society right now, but it can come from Christianity, Islam. I'm a Baha'i. For me, when I read these words, it seems to elevate me into a higher state of consciousness, you might say. And so where a lot of the psychic things that happen, it becomes kind of tertiary, not as significant, if that makes sense. So a lot of people that are looking for truth or spirituality, if it's just a diversion, it's not really lifting you to a place, in my opinion, where you really want to be. So that being said, for me, when I go and I study the different words of God or through prayer, that's what seems to tap into a consciousness that satisfies my spirit. I love hearing all of the stories and I learn a lot, but it seems to me kind of like a scientist. You're wanting to find out what is real, what is fantasy, what is hallucinations. And at one point, I started to become a parapsychologist, but I decided that spirituality was the key. So that's basically all I have to share at the moment, but just something to consider.
Let me ask you this. This is a little bit off topic, but you are a Baha'i, and as from what I understand, Baha'i is kind of like a mixture of the 5 major religions. What does the Baha'i talk about reincarnation and the afterlife?
In the Baha'i faith, it's an independent world religion. And my father was a Baptist minister and left the pulpit to become a Baha'i and remained a Baha'i all of his life. So he resolved all of the Christian issues in terms of what becoming a Baha'i is, and he remained a Baha'i all of his life. My understanding of the Baha'i faith and reincarnation is that it's like a flower from last springtime. It's come again. It's not the same exact flower, but it has the same qualities and attributes. But that the knowledge of the life to come after death is so beautiful that if we were to have that disclosed to us right now, none of us would stay here.
Right.
So this is kind of like a school for us to learn certain qualities and attributes. Now, I'm not an expert on all of that, but for me, I've often wondered, what about reincarnation? It's a big, big thing. The Baha'i faith says that does not exist in terms of actual literal coming back and the soul coming back in. We may go to other worlds, I don't know. But it's a big topic.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, Victor, thanks for coming and sharing with us. I appreciate you. And don't be a stranger. Come back and let's talk some more, especially about the Baha'i.
Cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You have a good evening.
All right. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
So, as I was saying, yes, Mr. Chong was on. I recorded it this morning. And some of the stuff you may find pretty shocking. And according to him about this book, that it's verifiable. And we talk about that during the podcast, and I hope you will like that. For the rest of the week, let's see. We have another. I'm supposed to record another NDE tomorrow. And then I'm supposed to record with another pretty big YouTuber named Michael Sandler. And we'll talk about his NDE and some other stuff that he's into. Let's see. I got another person I didn't write in my notes that we're talking about. I got to record an NDE on Wednesday. On Thursday, I'm going to be speaking with Gabrielle Stone. And Gabrielle is Dee Wallace's daughter. And if you remember, I guess when was it I had Dee on? About 2 weeks ago? Dee is the actress that played in Cujo. She played in E.T. And we talked about limiting beliefs, and it was a fantastic podcast. So her daughter is also an actress as well as an author, and we're going to be talking to her. And then on the Friday, I'm going to be recording with a woman named Elena Danan. I think that's how you pronounce her. I believe she's an Irish woman that she is pretty famous in the ET world, and we're going to be talking about her ET abduction. And another NDE I'll record on Saturday, and Sunday I've got Dr. Megan Rose coming up, and she is another, I believe, PhD psychologist, and we're going to be talking marriage with spirits. And I don't know if it's getting married in the afterlife or people here marrying ghosts. We'll learn more about that when we have her. And then upcoming, I have scheduled one of the record on the 17th. I've scheduled one of the actors of the TV show or the Netflix show Stranger Things. So if you're into Stranger Things, I hope you will enjoy that one. And that's basically it. So that's kind of the upcoming things. And again, if you look in the description, you will have the Discord link. So if you want to join the Discord, that's the link to get into the server, and you can hang out with people. And it's close to 400 people there now. I do have our NDE YouTube channel. So if you just like to watch NDEs and just the short clip where the guest tells their experience, that is there. The JeffMara podcast Facebook page, the Facebook page is there if you want to, that to help you keep aware of what's up. I post sometimes news stories. Like today, I put some news stories in there that I thought that I perhaps would talk about if there was a space between guests, but it was pretty much busy the entire time, so I never had time to talk about those. And then last of all, my personal Facebook profile. And you will understand that Mara is my wife, and my last name is Reynolds. And you're welcome to friend me there, and I will keep accepting friends till I reach the max of 5,000. And that's basically it. So that's it for the week. Thank you all so much for coming and being and watching and being here with us. I really appreciate you guys. I love you, and have a great rest of your weekend. God bless you, and good night.